Hey guys, it's Gail with Everything Nash here with the fabulous Joel Smallbone, not to talk about For King and Country, but to talk about Unsung Hero, a fantastic new movie. Talk about it. I'm so curious. It's a great movie. We can end right there. It's a fantastic movie. But I'm so curious why you wanted to tell this story and why you wanted to tell it now.
Well, first of all, Gail, from LA to Nashville, it's nice to be. It's funny, we could have been in person in another form of this. I'll be back tomorrow, but thank you for taking the time. Uh, I have to give credit where credit's due. It was actually Luke, brother Luke, who makes up the other half of the King Country. He has told, and we have told this story from stage about our parents moving from Australia to the United States and all the tragedies and triumphs that they faced along the way. We've told this story from stage since the beginning of the band. It's kind of like a pay it forward child advocacy, um, part of the show. And it's always been really resonant. And everyone's kind of like, oh, you should write a book about this. And Luke jokes that we were homeschooled, so we don't read and write very well. But we'll do one better. We'll give you a movie. And so in 2020, Luke called a producer friend and said, hey, this story just seems to resonate with so many. What do you think about putting it in development? And he was like, all right, let's go. And honestly, there's been twists and turns and bumps, and is it going to happen? Is it not, from that day to this? But it was really just this idea of rising up and calling our mom blessed, and also highlighting the power of family banding together, highlighting the power of music and miracles and the 90s, and bringing it to the silver screen.
Was it a given when you decided to do the movie that you were going to be in it, or did that come after?
It's really interesting because now the storyline is you co-wrote it, you co-directed it with Richard Ramsey, and you played your dad. That was really self-indulgent. Or like you bit off a lot, at least. And the truth is, at the beginning, the only thing I thought from the moment we started talking about it was it'd be really interesting for me to play dad. I had that thought almost immediately. All the other things just sort of came along with the territory. And look, with being a musician as my day job, you know this, you have to do all things all the time. You have to be the writer, you have to be the recorder, you have to be the editor, you have to be the director, the producer, the performer. And so when it came time to a movie, it was sort of shorthand. It was like, okay, well, we'll just do that.
What did your family think? Because it's such a powerful story. There's also some really humbling moments in there. So what was your family's reaction to you telling the story?
They were very kind, particularly mum and particularly dad. I just found this out a couple of weeks ago, Gail, that dad had never actually read the script. We sent it to him and he sort of alluded like, yeah, mum and me read it, but he actually never read the script because he wanted to protect the project from him having too much of a sort of manipulative voice to the script, which I thought was very courageous. But we did sit them down in a screening room when we were still in the edit, the whole family, and played it for them. And mum wept, and dad went and talked to the projector operator. So I think they handled it in their own way. But I get the sense, dad's watched it like 20 times since. I get the sense that the spirit of it, highlighting their journey, highlighting the struggle, highlighting our sister Rebecca, that it's been a very redemptive project overall.
What are your memories of that time when your family was struggling? You moved to the States, you were struggling so much financially. You went from this beautiful house to, this tiny house. What are your memories of it?
Adventure. It was really interesting because my childhood memories were like bands coming to Australia and vinyl 45 records and Striper and spandex and Sydney Opera House. And then we came here and it was like cricket in the house and, raking leaves and mowing lawns and banding together and traveling. Is only when I got to adulthood and particularly writing this and then dropping into dad's shoes, or more specifically, even his jacket from 30 years ago, that I went, oh my goodness, the stress and the strain and the insecurity and the pride and the fear and everything in between. So much of what he was dealing with, particularly Dad, was really profound. And so it was a great adventure. And I hope people feel that, because there's like this juxtaposition in the movie where on one half, it's these kids having this adventure. And then on the other hand, there's this really, the parents trying to hold it all together, and then them intersecting, the kids and the parents sort of playing off each other throughout. So it was kind of end and both in the end in the film project.
Any hesitancy about telling the story, especially with, you named artists, not in a bad way, but there are artists mentioned this. Any hesitancy?
There was It's a great question. I've not been asked that. There was hesitancy from Richard. He actually renamed everyone, including the family, in the early scripts. And I felt it disingenuous. Come hell or high water, I thought, you have to tell the tenets of this story have to be honest, and you have to just tell it as it is. It was a true story. It's not based on a true story. It's not inspired by a true story. It just is a true story. And all of the tenets have to be told with tact, but also genuinely as it happened.
Well, it's fantastic. Any more acting projects coming up for you? You do so well on the big screen. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. Thank you, Gail. I appreciate it from people like you too, we've been in this whole like music, now movies journey for so long. So it's a high compliment from you. The short answer is yes. We're working on a project, a Christmas musical set in the Civil War about a girl who's in slavery and two brothers who end up on opposite sides of the battlefield, called Drummer Boy. And so my hope is that will be the next, the next, and it kind of scratches all of the itches. It's like, it's the band, it's Drummer Boy, it's Christmas, it's our own music, it's movies. It's sort of like the magnum opus. So let's stay focused on Unsung Hero. Let's stay focused on the 90s and 90s music and mums and miracles and family and faith. And this coming out on the 26th, which happens to be our parents' 49th wedding anniversary, and a day that we're calling Family Day. Let's focus on that, and then we'll get to the next thing.
Also, I have to let you go. I loved the burn the ships in that one scene. I was like, oh, that's where burn the ships comes from.
When I first read it, I wanted to cut it because I was like, this is just kind of hokey, but isn't it profound?
It's great. All right, I have to let you go, Joel. I always love talking to you, and let's do this again soon.
Thank you for your thoughtfulness, as always, Gail. See you soon.
Bye, sweetie.